breaking news right now, and I'll definitely get your opinion on that too. We are now getting the first visuals of Iranian missiles being intercepted in the skies over Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Now, earlier air raid sirens were heard in both Jerusalem and Tel Aviv after Iran launched a fresh salvo of missiles on Israel. Earlier, the Israeli military had warned of incoming Iranian missiles. Now, this is the latest that we are getting right now. These are the first visuals of Iranian missiles being intercepted in the skies over Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Earlier air raids were also heard in both of these regions after Iran had launched a fresh salvo of missiles on Israel. Now, earlier, the Israeli military had warned of incoming Iranian missiles. Now, as you can see, these are visuals on your screen. Dr. Rowe, I would like to come to you now. As we see, the escalation is not going down any somehow, but somehow we see Trump saying that, well, he's not working on a ceasefire. These are escalating tensions right now. Again, I would like to ask you, there's a war situation and there's some sort of war missions in U.S. that are being formed. What could have been so important that actually Donald Trump just skipped the summit where the Ukraine war could have been the potential talk, and Mexico could have been the potential talk, and he had skipped that moment and he came back to Washington?
I think that he was using the crisis in the Middle East as a very good and acceptable excuse for leaving the summit early, when it was always his intention to leave the summit early. He didn't want to be present, to be 1 against 6 or more, because there are guests who are not actually members of the G7 who are participating around the table. He did not want to be present when they're discussing Ukraine, because he would be a minority of 1. And that brings us to the question that has been discussed in the news in the last day: Trump's statement that it was a mistake for Vladimir Putin to have been excluded from this club and reducing it from a G8 to a G7. That is nonsense. Putin was very happy to be eliminated because it was a gang-up of 7 against 1. Indeed, they met, the 7 leaders met privately each time before Vladimir Putin entered the discussions, and they were united against Russia. That was not a convenient or useful situation for Russia to be in. Mr. Trump is now feeling the same thing. He is a minority of 1.
Absolutely. Now, again, we are seeing these escalating tensions. We're seeing missiles over Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Let's also talk about how Israel and its preparation. Is it actually prepared to actually go and prolong this whole thing? How prepared do you think Israel is, considering the fact that there have been some shelter bombs where some civilians have been killed despite being in shelter bombs? How do you think Iranians would be taking this? Israelis, pardon me there.
Yes, Israelis are in a difficult position. If they were to be consistent and look after their own interests, they would remove Mr. Netanyahu from power immediately, because he's leading the country to total destruction. The very nice images that you have put on screen a couple of minutes ago about Israeli interception of missiles is correct, but it's only part of the story. There are missiles and missiles. There's an enormous range of missiles in the Iranian arsenal, and the ones that were intercepted and destroyed, obviously, are the weaker ones. The Iranians have no ability to stop the hypersonic missiles, which Iran has also fired with great effect on Haifa and other both civilian and military objectives in Israel. And those lead Mr. Netanyahu into a corner. If he doesn't get the Americans to come on board and join him in fighting Israel directly and not indirectly, as they presently are, then he is going to lose this war. And that leads us to a very big problem, which may explain in part why Mr. Trump left the meeting. Let's face it, Mr. Netanyahu is a man with no scruples no morals, and is ready to do anything to keep himself in power. And the anything that he may be looking at is using Israeli nuclear weapons against Iran. If he does that, we will be well into World War III. The Chinese and the Russians cannot allow that to happen. And so these considerations may well justify Mr. Trump's departure from the G7.
Right, and because you talked about the U.S. involvement in this whole escalation, so far, Donald Trump and the U.S. has been taking a strictly defensive stance when it comes to conflict, but we have also heard of now Democrats that are seeking a bill which can limit the ability to launch military strikes against Iran. What do you think of U.S.'s position with these tensions escalating and with this bill being introduced?
Well, it's curiously, the ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel has split the Republican Party as well, and so the opposition to what Mr. Trump could do, that is, namely, intervene directly in the offensive actions of Israel against Iran, that is mounting and very serious. The progressive Democrats are against American intervention. Even well-known personalities like Bernie Sanders in the U.S. Senate are against any intervention. But the fact is, the United States already has intervened. The United States was well aware of Israel's intentions to strike Iran, and it provided Israel with various assets making this possible. The Iranians are perfectly aware of that, but they're choosing to overlook it to avoid getting into a direct fight with the United States, which would complicate their defensive position enormously. So it's a very tense situation. The United States politically, domestically is split. Mr. Trump is, as I said, an opportunist. He has a nose to the wind. He will do what he believes will give some political advantage in either proceeding on the present course of avoiding participation in Israeli offensive actions against Iran, or he may reverse and do precisely that, risking directly Iranian strikes, Iranian attacks on the very important U.S. military assets in the region.
Absolutely, Dr. Doctor, we'll have to leave it at that. But of course, it's yet to see what could be bigger than a ceasefire and what we see in the following days. Thank you so much for joining us and giving your insights.
Well, thank you.